Don't throw away your pumpkins. Don't even put them to the curbside for waste pickup because you're literally throwing away money and fertilizer. These guys here, they're orange gold. So if you use it for decor or even for a jack-o'-lantern, I have a way better use for you than throwing it away or putting it to the curb, and I'm going to show you all about that. So today we are going to be relieving some stress together while I tell you why smashing pumpkins is the best option for you and your garden. This is what you get for using a child's T-ball baseball. But if you're new here, my name is Bree from Urban Gardening Canada and I garden in Ottawa, Zone 5. Today I want to tell you why smashed pumpkins are such garden gold for you, and it's going to mean that you don't have to throw your pumpkins out, you don't have to put them to waste, but you actually get to use them. I definitely thought that this would actually work to smash it, but we're going to have to find an alternative at some point to smash this guy up. Us North Americans love our pumpkins. We love them for decor, jack-o'-lanterns, because we're big Halloween people, or even to buy them to make pumpkin pie or any other type of pumpkin product. In fact, in the US, 1.5 billion pounds of pumpkins are grown every single year, with most of them being grown in Illinois, the remainder of them in California, Indiana, and then across the US. Here in Canada, we grow 221 million pounds a year, with 70% of those being turned into jack-o'-lanterns, which I thought was a really surprising number, a really high percentage of these pounds, with most of our pumpkins being grown in Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. Let me know in the comments below if you are one of the 70% of people who are buying pumpkins for jack-o'-lanterns. I'm just curious to hear how you like to use your pumpkins at home. Or maybe you're someone who doesn't buy one at all. Let me know. That's a lot of pumpkins that are being grown and shipped around the country just so that way we could use them as decor. It makes you think that that is a really big waste of agricultural space or even edible food, but that's what I want to show you in today's video, is how you can take those pumpkins and reuse them in such a way that it isn't as wasteful as it sounds at first. But this also begs the question, which is better, real pumpkins or plastic pumpkins? From an environmental perspective, this is a debate similar to real Christmas trees versus fake Christmas trees. And in my opinion, from years of caring for the environment and following sustainability activism, for me, this is how I feel about it, is that plastic pumpkins are a one-time purchase and you will hold on to them, but there are some downfalls to this. So first off, these pumpkins are coming from countries overseas where you can't guarantee that the labor they're being paid properly and that they're being cared for properly. So you can be buying from countries who are treating their employees and their laborers poorly. The second thing is that yes, it's going to last forever for you, but this is quite literally forever. So if you're tired of that specific pumpkin color or shape, then you're going to get rid of it. You can donate it all you want, but there are so many decor pieces out there in the secondhand store, so it's really not like it's guaranteed to go to anybody. Plastic can last in the landfill for 500 years. So at some point you might look in the landfill and it's going to look like a pumpkin patch because of all of the plastic pumpkins that exist out there. And sure, they look good and they can be realistic, but really you are buying a one-time purchase from questionable labor conditions for a plastic pumpkin that's going to last for 500 years, long after you're gone, even if you pass this down to your next generation. And the other thing is that seeing it as a one-time purchase, a lot of times people consider that a really good benefit, but at the same time, there are people out there relying on you to make purchases. So you can buy a pumpkin one time from overseas in a different country, or you can continuously support your local farmers who are growing pumpkins around you. And to me, that continual support means that you are supporting your farmers around you, your local agriculture, and it really is only $6 to $10 a year for an investment for you, so it's really not that large. For the negatives of buying a real pumpkin, we're talking about like land space that's used to grow pumpkins that could be used for something else other than decorative, fertilizers, and water usage that's going into growing all of these. But for me, what I see is that what I'm going to show you in this video today means that the land space, water usage, and fertilizer isn't going to go anywhere because you are going to be taking it back to your garden. So it's really a full circle moment where there will be inputs, but you are going to be taking them back into your garden. So it's really just a transfer of that nutrition and the water content. In terms of land space, yeah, 1.5 billion pounds of pumpkins is a lot, or 221 million pounds of pumpkins is a lot. But first off, pumpkins are heavy. So when it comes to a quantity of pumpkins, it's not going to be as large as it sounds. And agricultural use is actually mainly used for feeding livestock. So really the amount of space that's being used for pumpkin growing for jack-o'-lanterns is significantly smaller than the actual amount of land space that is being used to feed cattle and pigs and other animal agriculture that winds down to an even smaller food source. So if you're really worried about the land usage, you should be looking elsewhere rather than pumpkins in specific terms of this. This is just something where your attention is being diverted to the wrong place if land space is particularly the issue for you. So if you haven't figured it out by now, when it comes to the plastic versus real debate, for me, specifically with pumpkins, I'm not talking Christmas trees, even though I mentioned them earlier. For me, when it comes to pumpkins, a real pumpkin is still your better choice. If you're worried about the pesticides that are being sprayed and just the way that the agriculture is being done to grow these pumpkins, choose your organic growers and choose your local farmers first before you're going to go and buy from a big store where you can't guarantee where the location of those pumpkins were from. Support your local farmer first, and always, if you can, find organic, especially for what we're going to be doing at the end of this video here. Organic is always better. If you're like me and you find it frustrating that we have to have this debate about plastic pumpkins versus real pumpkins or plastic trees versus real trees, then you'll recognize that the gardening and horticultural industry are not sustainable, which always confuses me because for horticulture and growing a garden, we require sustainability and environmentally friendly practices because we actually rely on the environment and nature in order to grow. However, this isn't how the way it works in the world that we live in, whether it's black plastic pots that can't be recycled or pesticides being sprayed on pollinator-friendly perennials being sold at the greenhouse, now being sold to you. The industry just isn't what it should be, and that is why I created my course on how to be a more sustainable gardener, as well as building a more resilient garden. Because if the industry isn't aligned with taking care of the planet, the least we can do is be the ones being stewards to the land. And that is what this course is all about, is teaching you how you can protect the biodiversity in your backyard, build your living soil so it takes care of your garden, all while making sure that it is built to withstand any of the weather that is coming at you through the intensifying climate crisis. So if this is something that interests you, I'll leave a link for it below so you can check it out. All right, let's talk about why smashing your pumpkin in your garden is the best usage of your pumpkin. This is especially true if you don't compost. If you do have a large compost outside, this may be a better choice for you to stick it in there. But if you're like me and you either only have small urban compost or you don't have one at all, then smashing it and getting all that frustration out is going to be the best way to do it. This is something that is seen by farmers. I've seen it in Europe where the entire field is full of smashed pumpkins, and this is really what led me on the path to try and figure out what is going on and why this is happening. But also, pumpkin seed farmers will also smash their pumpkins into their field because the flesh is too ripe by the time the seeds are ready, so therefore they can't sell the seeds and the pumpkin at the same time. So the best thing they can do is smash it up and return it back to the soil. And this is because there is tons of nutrition in the flesh of a pumpkin. The NPK of it is actually quite balanced, which means that you're going to be getting a bunch of nutrients back in your soil. So not only can you buy the pumpkin to enjoy it as decor, you can carve it if you enjoy carving jack-o'-lanterns, but then you get to bring it back into your garden and feed your soil for next year. This is a really perfect time to be prepping your garden for the springtime, so why not do it? And the other thing is that pumpkin flesh is filled with liquid. It's quite a water dense flesh, which means that all of that water is going to go back into your soil and feed the microorganisms. This is why pumpkins are so good in a compost bin as well, because of that water quantity. So the microorganisms love that, they feed on it, and they're going to help break it down faster. But again, this is going to be the same for your garden, with the microorganisms in your living soil are going to take care of it, and it's also going to add that nutrition back. And I think that this is just such a great way to do a full circle moment of using these pumpkins all the way into your garden. So before you get all excited and smash it up, there are some considerations that you need to think about. The first one is, if you garden organically and you are putting a non-organic pumpkin into your soil, you do need to think about if you're okay with that. I tried to look up just how much pesticides are sprayed on pumpkin farms. Because they are not being eaten, perhaps there is less pesticides being sprayed on them. However, because they're not being eaten, perhaps more pesticides are being sprayed on them. So I went onto the EWG's Dirty Dozen list, and it was number 29 out of 47 vegetables. So it's actually mid-range. It's not on their Dirty Dozen list, and it's not on the Clean 15. So it's kind of that middle ground. So this is really up to you if you want to put a non-organic pumpkin in your garden. Otherwise, in future years, either grow your own pumpkins or buy them organic, so that way you can choose to use it as decor, but also in your garden. Surprisingly, when I saw organic pumpkins at the grocery store, they weren't more expensive than the conventionally grown ones. They were just smaller. So by pound, they would be more expensive. But if you're using them for decor, then really the size, it doesn't always matter. So they were equally competitive pricing. So this is a really good thing for you. The other thing is, if you have any glue or glitter on your jack-o'-lanterns, you're not going to want to put that into your garden. So either find a way to clean it off, scrape it off, or just note that you need to cut that portion off of it before you can put it in your garden. And if you can't clean it off, just don't use those type of pumpkins in your garden. The final thing is, if you've painted your pumpkin, also you don't want to put that in your garden either, unless you're using some kind of natural or biodegradable paint. But again, any type of chemicals that you're adding to your jack-o'-lanterns or your decor pumpkins, make sure that it is safe and friendly for both food and the soil before you decide to compost it in there. And now we get to go to the fun part, which is smashing up the pumpkins. So what you're going to do is you are going to smash it, whether it's with a baseball bat, you toss it off a balcony, whatever it is, throw it at a wall. As long as you don't break a window or break anything, you want to smash that pumpkin up, clean it up. If there are seeds in it, you may want to remove those seeds because you don't want to have 1,000 pumpkins in your garden. If you do want 1,000 pumpkins in your garden, then you don't need to remove the seeds. And then from there, you are going to bury it about 12 inches deep. Animals do like to eat pumpkins, so keep this in mind. There's a chance that they can dig up the soil to go after that pumpkin. So you want to plant it in a place that if animals do try and dig it up, it's not going to ruin, say, a garlic harvest or anything that you've planted right now. So that is my biggest consideration. But if you do go 12 inches deep, then you shouldn't have to worry about animals. But the more shallow it is, the more trouble you're going to get into when it comes to them eating. In my opinion, let these animals eat. They're already going to have a hard time finding food once the snow falls. So for me, I don't consider it a big deal at all if an animal wants to come and munch on a pumpkin, which is not surprising since my pumpkins are already full of chew marks from different animals coming in to give it a taste. And that is everything for today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a comment below about how you're going to be using your pumpkins. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out this video here. Bye. Oh yeah, finally a big crack. If you've been feeling stressed out in life, this is for you.